Hey everybody, we're just getting started. And okay then. We are live on YouTube. And welcome everyone. I'm really just got emotional again, sinking into the present moment. The topic in July for these YouTube lives is what is the world? And when I was sitting um, with what wanted to come through, I recognized that the question isn't working for me exactly. So I've changed it a little bit. Um, it's more like, how do we use the world? And I am going to, I'm going to tell a little story, and then we're going to play a little game perhaps. But first, um, for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Cyndi. And I've been hanging out in the Center for Awakening, and before that, the Teachers of God Foundation since 2018. And I am also a minister at Awakening Together, and I hold space for the Global Diet Meditation Project. And ultimately, what I can tell you about who I am is I am one who, at this point, um, desires only awakening, the truth. And Kendall, let me know. Everybody is muted, but there is background noise here. So if the background noise here is a problem, I'll get up for a second and go and close my window. So all I desire is direct experience. That's my understanding. Oh, Marina, I just noticed you in the house. I love your smile. Okay. Um, so my question is, do you know what you want? What is it that you want? I know most of the faces here, right? We've spent lots of time together. Um, do you know why you're here? Just take a minute to sink in. And it's not just because you like me. I know everybody here loves me. We hang out. Oh, Karen, hi. We hang out in these rooms like every day. Do you know why? Is there a purpose or a plan? And you don't have to share it or put it. This is just for you. Um, Ultimately, is it because you want to know who you are? Is it because you want to feel better today than you did yesterday? Is it is it because you want to heal? Is it for truth? Just recognize, take a moment right here, right now, and center yourself on your purpose, on your goal. Last May, here's the story. Some of you may have heard this. But last May, I was flying back to Grand Island, New York from Colorado, and it was an all-day journey. I left the retreat house in La Veta, Colorado at like 8 o'clock in the morning, Colorado time. And I landed around 12:30 midnight, New York time. It was a very long day. And the plan was for my daughter to pick me up and drive me back home. I live on an island, little island in the middle of the Niagara River. It's only about 20 minutes from the airport, from the Buffalo airport. My daughter got drunk that night, but before she chose to drink, the man she was dating at the time agreed to be the designated driver. And he's never visited my apartment before. So they picked me up. They were there. It was wonderful. Emma was all giggly and laughing and stuff. He put into his GPS my address, but he also told the GPS, the computer, that he wanted to get to my house without paying a toll. No toll. Okay. There is, unless you have a plane or a boat, you cannot get to my apartment from the Buffalo airport without paying a toll. You can't get there. The program only had the information it was given. And the program was told to get to my house without paying a toll. And so it got to within, I don't know, 100 yards of the bridge, and it kept turning around in circles. We kept driving around the little village of Tonawanda, which was on the other side of the bridge. Now, I went to open my mouth once. Just remember, this is a long day after I helped to facilitate a retreat, all these other things. But the moment I went to suggest that perhaps there was another way to do it, my drunken daughter, and she was still, at this point, just turned around and said, "Oh, backseat driving?" I said, "Nope, it's all yours." So it took, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes before my daughter kindly asked her boyfriend to turn off the GPS. And she told him to make a left and go over a bridge, and we got home in 5 minutes. Why do I tell this story? Sink into that. If you don't know where you're going, A, you'll never get there. Right? B, if you're programmed with false information, like you have to figure out how to survive in an insane world, for instance, like the world is outside of us, and we have to figure out how to be okay in a world that we are a victim of. If we accept false programming, we will also never succeed getting wherever it is back to your apartment at this point 1:30 in the morning. um, got it? Does that feel right? So when Dr. David Hawkins was asked, what is the most serviceable presumptive view of the world for a spiritual student or a devotee or a seeker? So Dr. David Hawkins was asked, like, if someone like us who is on some sort of spiritual journey, for whatever reason we're here, whether you call yourself a seeker or someone who desires only truth or someone who's raising vibration, or there's nothing better to do than hang out with others who are on the path, whatever it is. How should we view the world? Can you sit with that question? Here's his answer. Chills. Presume that the world's actual purpose is perfect and fully known only by God. See it as neutral overall, but with the benefit that it provides optimal opportunity for spiritual growth and the evolution of consciousness. Makes sense, right, Richard? If all of a sudden, as I was reading that, I heard you in my head going, isn't that what I tell you every time we're in a meeting together? Right? See it as neutral overall, but with the benefit that it provides optimal opportunity for spiritual growth and the evolution of consciousness. It is a school for enlightenment and the revelation of divinity, whereby consciousness, awareness, reawakens to its source. Thus, to pursue enlightenment in and of itself serves the world and God. Just allowing that to sink in. So here's how this is informing me. This is recommending for me that I don't invest too much time in trying to figure out what the world is, i.e., as something outside of myself that I have to figure out how to get along in, and instead open to the possibility that the most valuable thing that we can do is open to utilizing the world and how this sense of a separate me is responding to the world, and ask for all of us Course in Miracles students, ask how, when the world hits our stuff, we can forgive it. We can accept the atonement. We can use whatever is going on in the world that seems to be creating, right? Amy, you know what word I'm about to use? When the world creates a contraction here, how do I sink back into the divine or into consciousness or into love's embrace and allow that contraction to expand? Accepting, as Dr. David Hawkins has indicated in this quote, that when I do that, I am serving the world. Make sense? Okay. So what I have here is something called daily reflections from Dr. David Hawkins. It's like it's a daily contemplative, and I read you June 29th. So there's an exercise that I'd like to bring us through, take us through, but I am inspired to ask if anybody wants to ask a question, make a comment, any of those things before we do that. Hi, Melanie.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I just was listening again to is it Benito Massaro's YouTube, and that we talked about yesterday. And at the very end, he made the statement that the world acts as a mirror to know oneself. So it kind of is similar to what you were saying, but it's kind of seeing the world as really a way for us to awaken. It's teaching us. Does that make sense at all to you?
It's exactly
Kind
it.
of.
So he said to use the world as a mirror.
Yeah, to act,
right?
The world acts as a mirror to know oneself.
Right. And Joel Goldsmith, his verbiage was that the world reflects back to us our current level of consciousness.
Yeah.
A lot of teachers state something very similar. All the world's really doing is showing us what our current belief system is.
And that there's no really separation between us
Right.
and the world. Yeah.
Because part of that, right, as we, most of us in this room right now hang out together a lot, you know, either at the Center for Awakening or at Awakening at Home, or, you know, in the Evolve community or whatever. We've been looking at these teachings for a really long time together. These teachings all indicate, as Richard tells us so often, that we're dream characters and we're doing the best we can every single day, you know? But even as dream characters, those of us that are showing up in these rooms have as part of our personality or our quirk this desire to be of service, right? This desire to be more peaceful today than we were yesterday, this desire to be filled more with whatever you call God. So using the world to show us where we block that is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Anybody else? Okay. So what I am inspired to suggest, and I've never done this before, I talked it through with Rana to see if it made sense, is that we go right into an opportunity for direct experience using this as a background, right? I'm going to go back to gallery view so I can see everyone. And here's how I suggest we do this. Begin again by just sinking into why you're here, right? Just use that as the ground. And accept just for this time that we're together, if not forever and ever, that the world's purpose is to help us awaken, and to decide that that is the only purpose for the world. In and of itself, it's neutral, but it gets to show us where we're walking around in something that's not neutral, where we're blocking the divine flow. And that when we rest around the blockages, the awareness in and of itself will help to release them. Barbie, does that make sense before we do all of this? Yeah. So what I'd like is for us to begin. You could close your eyes if you want and just do what I call my Eckhart Tolle body scan. Just allow your awareness to let you know how the body's doing energetically right now. And as you do that, as you slowly move through the body, just in the body, keep your attention on this sense of being a physical me. And with no judgment, with no spiritualizing anything, allow yourself to become aware of anything, because the body really is part of the world. You know, based on all of the truth teachings, all objects are part of the dualistic world, and the sense of a physical form, i.e. our body, is part of that. So sticking just with our physicality, whether it's subtle or acute, allow whatever it is in your personal form that feels like it needs to be different in order for you to relax and be okay right now. Just allow it to come up, no judgment. And as it does, see how, if you're clinging to this idea that in order for you to be okay, this needs to be resolved. You have to figure out how to do it. And then ask yourself, if this is the greatest service I can give to the world right now, to let this be okay just the way it is, Am I willing to stop clinging to the desire for this to be different? Can I let it go? And if the answer is yes, as good Course in Miracles students or non-dual students or whatever, if you're a Course in Miracles student, are you willing to accept the atonement? Are you willing right now to ask for forgiveness? Because that's all this forgiveness is letting go of this wanting this to be different. If you're a student of Rupert Spira, my favorite is, can you welcome this, even if it's going to be here for the rest of your life? Can you give it a true welcoming and a true embrace? If this pain, if this limitation, if this um, symptom, whatever it is, if it's something that you are going to be with for as long as you hang, and you love it, welcome it, be with it, embrace it, even if it never changes. Maybe the answer is no, and that's okay. Welcome that. And while you're still in this space, right, go ahead and scan again and allow your awareness to expand to your home, just your home, the people in your home, the workings of your home, the noise in the home, the construction workers outside the window, whatever it is. What is it about the people in your home itself, that creates some level of contraction, some belief that the world's not okay? Because this is the other way of looking at it. Dr. Hawkins is suggesting that the highest state we can take is accepting that the world is neutral, and it's the beliefs and the programs that we hold about the world that is creating any sense of contraction or suffering. In the neutral world, and in this case, I'm suggesting look very specifically at your house and those in your house. It's neutral. Your response is the blockage. So allow it to come up. No judgment, no nothing, right? And as it comes up, subtle or intense, ask again, am I willing to let it go? And I release it. If this is my circumstance, if I have no home, and I'm literally have to every day wonder where my children and I are going to sleep, can I recognize that this is God's neutral gift to help rise, and that there is no problem here? And if the answer is no, let that be okay too. But embrace the no, embrace the energy, and just allow yourself to consider that this teaching suggests that no, this has to be changed in order for me to be okay. This world out there has to change so I can feel better inside. That's what that no is. And just allow yourself to be with that. And remember why you're here. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to read this quote again until we move on. Question: what is the most serviceable presumptive view of the world for a spiritual student or devotee or seeker, which is you, because you're here. The answer, Dr. Hawkins. Presume that the world's actual purpose is perfect and fully known only by God. See it as neutral overall, but with the benefit that it provides optimal opportunity for spiritual growth and the evolution of consciousness. It is a school for enlightenment and the revelation of divinity, whereby consciousness awareness reawakens to its source. Thus, to pursue enlightenment in and of itself serves the world and God. So in this space now, I'm inspired to suggest that you turn your attention to others in your world, to this belief that there are people in your world that are suffering or are, whether it's suffering and you want to do something about it, or suffering and you feel you can't do something about it, or the other people in your world. Go ahead and stay really aware to your sense of self, and how you wish for a different kind of life experience, a different kind of world for others in your experience. How many of us, especially those of us that call ourselves parents, um, or grandparents, wives or husbands, go, I'm really fine, but I need to help. I see you, Sandra. There's no difference. There's no difference. What is the Course in Miracles? The Course in Miracles, again, we have a lot of students here in this room, right? It teaches us that the ego has this beautiful way of taking our guilt, our shame, whatever, all the building blocks to hold the separation and the suffering in place, and it will project it out into others so that we don't look at it. So no matter who it is, whether it's our husband, our wives, our children, our grandchildren, our friends, our cats, our dogs, whatever, who we wish had a happier life, go ahead. See how you cling to that and feel the potential difficulty in letting that go. And what I'd like to do is just, the way it works for me in those moments, what is it about this circumstance that I think I can handle better than God? That's one question that can work really well in this circumstance. Again, holding this kind of looking at this recognition that the world itself is neutral, and that all suffering is our interpretation of the world, right? So we're seeing these beings that we care about, and we're convinced that they're suffering, and we got to help them, or we got to worry about them, or however it shows up for you, right? And just wonder, what is it about this circumstance that little old me can handle better than the divine or God or whatever? And if that question doesn't work, here's another one. How does this worry thought, this contraction I'm feeling, help them? What purpose does it serve? Go ahead and really look at it. The mind's going to say, I can't help it. They're struggling, and that's what we humans do. We worry. what happens when you turn around and really hold the worry thought about another in this space? What benefit to the world is your worry? Just that. Before I go on, there is the guidance to slow things down and ask for other voices. How is this hitting? What are your questions or your responses or your concerns? Is it working? What are you feeling? What's your experience? I'd love to hear it. Richard.
Hi, everybody. I'd love to be here. And what a wonderful topic. And as you know, I love Hawkins and his research. And so, why am I here? I joined the Teachers of God Foundation in 2020 after attending the spring conference put on by Pure Presidents Conferences, and then again in September. And in October, I joined the Evolve community. So I've been with this group for a while, a few years, 3.5 years, I guess. And what I love about it is I see myself as a separate entity within the dream, that I'm refining my understanding of what reality is and my role in that play, as a separate being within the illusion. And when I do this, I became a more pure vehicle for manifesting the truth of what I am, which is infinite, unconditional love. So, what I love about this group, this organization, and these meetings is we all share where we are on our own individual paths, and we all share what we think reality is and what we think the illusion is, but most of us are dealing day to day, 99% of the time, with how do I live my life as an independent individual, separate individual, body, mind, in the illusion, and be at peace. That's what most people talk about. They talk about meditation and experiencing reality as a way to find that peace, but you end up back in the dream, and you're struggling with the dream and the figures in the dream, like you mentioned. What I love about our meetings, this refinement process, I've been in the course for over 3 decades. I invited in more other teachers about 12 or 15 years into the course, started listening to Muji and Rupert and Francis and other teachers of non-duality. And so I've been in this refinement process for a while, and I love when people share where they are. I think we all learn from each other because the world is a reflection not only of what we individually think is going on in our own minds, but a collective idea of what the group thinks. So on a group level or city level or state or country level or world level, what we think we perceive is a reflection of the consciousness of a group of independent body minds thinking they are real and the world is real and we have to deal with that. So that's why I'm here. And the people in my life that are closest to me are my greatest teachers. My partner, for example, is my greatest teacher because she pulls my trigger more than I'd like, and reminds me constantly that I have work to do. So I want to finish with this. I have an exercise I've been doing for some time now. Hawkins talks about frequencies from 0 to 1,000 hertz, I guess. Although it's logarithmically calculated, but I think the actual numbers are hertz, which is a frequency. And Aronofsky took the law of one as a possible definition of what the illusion is, and he applied Hawking's technology to that, all the 7 densities in the law of one, and came up with from 0 to 20,000 in terms of consciousness evolution. So we're 0 to 1,000, which is the 3rd density. Then to go to 7th density as an experience of evolution of the consciousness, then you may go to 20,000. So what I think of on at least twice a day, multiple times other days, that like you read in that quote, my goal is to continually raise my individual consciousness to be between 600 on the Hawking scale and 20,000. So that way, if I focus on that, then I'm doing my part in elevating the consciousness of the entire human race. And so I don't have any idea whether that'll work or whether, but it gives me a pointer and a thing that says, okay, I may be having all the stuff happen in my life. If I can just let it be and focus on my consciousness is higher than 600. And as most of you will know, Hawking's, the frequency of 528 is love. So if anybody's doing binaural meditations, that music is normally at 528 hertz. And that's balancing the 2 hemispheres of the brain. And 600 is frequency of peace. And I believe that mind must be at peace before I can actually extend the love that you are. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Well, you just put into words, at least what I was trying to express, right? To come into this meeting, not so that we could talk. You've even said it, you've been having these conversations for 30 years, but how do we put it into practice? And as a group, because you and I both know that Dr. Hawkins also says we do it better, we can have exponential growth as a group focused on what you just said. Let's all vibrate at love or higher. Individually, we can't even come close to what we can do as a group. Yeah.
I've been in also, in addition to the Course in Miracles, I've been in a 12-step group for a number of years, about the same, a little longer than I've been in the Course. And one of the things I've noticed over the years, people always say, when they leave a meeting, they feel so much better than they did when they came to the meeting. And I found out later that they normally, in those meetings, where people share their strength and hope with others, that the group consciousness rises to a level above 300 on the Hawking scale. And so if you're individually experiencing a life expression that is less than 200, which Hawkins indicates is a negative growth area under 200, you have to be 200 above to have a positive growth of consciousness. the meanings at consciousness at 300 level or higher, you're going to feel better by the time you leave there. So that's an actual observation I've experienced over the years. And I think the same is true in our meeting. When I think the collective consciousness of the group rises, and then we all feel better after the meeting.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Richard. And while we're waiting for the next person to share, I'm watching and I'm looking, and I know the stories of a lot of the people in this room. So there's something else I want to say for those on YouTube, for those that are listening. There is a human belief that says they can, but I can't. My life is too hard because of X, Y, Z. But just from the stories I know of just the people that are in this room right now, I have been witness to stories of homelessness, stories of significant physical distress, stories of problems with children and grandchildren that are very, very, very significant. Health issues with our spouses, financial issues. They go all, it just within this room right now, some fairly acute, quote unquote, worldly circumstance. Yeah. And whatever pulled us into this moment right now, the general decision to bring those problems to this space is what, well, I'm going to read the quote again. But I just read the quote again. What does Dr. Hawkins say about the decision? Well, I'll just read the last sentence. Thus, to pursue enlightenment in and of itself serves the world and God. So our decision to come into a space like this, to say yes to the possibility that the issue is the vibration we're holding, the blocks we're holding, the limiting beliefs we're holding, the grievances, the attack thoughts, the sense of being a victim, the childhood trauma. Like there's so many different words for it, right? The decision to come into a space like this, to take responsibility for what we're holding, and to allow a space like this to lift it from us, not only serves us individually, but we're being told by so many of our teachers that that's how we serve the world, by using the world to awaken. Is there anyone else here that would like to comment? Well, then let's do a little bit more, yeah? Oh, Rana, is your hand up? Where'd you go? Come on down.
Hi,
Hi.
I just wanted to thank you and just relate how useful it is to just pause and take a moment to scan the body and then scan the local world, right? Maybe even go out another circle, and just see if anything is hitting my stuff. Just to take that moment to be honest about that. Because I'm trying to get rid of this habit of feeling just slightly uncomfortable and just being okay with that. And that scan that you had us do, just took that moment to see where, either the sensations or the thoughts are out of alignment, and to just take that moment to be honest with the self and say, yeah, there is something here. It
And
doesn't
so,
mean I'm wrong or bad, it's just that something's here to be healed. It's a
and what
signal.
was your experience when you found that? Did you feel the shift?
Yeah, I mean, it just dilutes it. That, and there's just this settling back into the acceptance that everything is exactly the way it is. And it's okay. Everything is just okay. It's the mind that is creating the idea or belief that things are not okay. Fill in the blank. This blank is not okay. Well, take a look at that. Is that true? What makes it not okay? So thank you, Cyndi. As always, just a wonderful direct experience.
Well, there are two things that came up while you were sharing. One was our friend Rupert Spira, where won't go into the whole teaching, but he clearly stated that when whatever that contraction is, the fear or anything that's not peace, when you choose to embrace it like this, just allow it come up, give your willingness for the forgiveness and embrace it with patience. It doesn't go away. You said dilute. What he said, the fear transforms into peace, which feels like the same teaching.
Yeah, it feels almost like a rising above, a transcendence. There's definitely an expansion and a movement there of including all that is.
The second thing that came up while I was listening to you that's really worth saying out loud is that acute big issues show up, like big problems that we think we want to solve, and there seems to be a lot of motivation to solve the problem. I have noticed more and more on my path that it's the subtle discomforts where the real juice is, right? When you when you when you have these settling, and part of it, in my nice little Jewish mother like state, oh, it's okay, you don't have to worry about me, I'll manage. That sort of kind of subtle like energy that has been with you so long you don't even notice it anymore. It's just those little hiccups of discomfort. When you're willing to sit with those in this same kind of space and embrace them with that same kind of peace and acceptance and watching, um, huge transformation possibilities happen.
Yeah.
We don't
We're
have to
opening a
settle.
channel,
Yeah. And I just loved Richard's focus, right? He didn't say, I'm going to get to 600 and stay there. He said, my goal is to hang out between 600 and 2000. What a way to spend every moment of our life, right?
Right.
How do I get it just a little bit higher? So thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, my friend.
Doris, come on down. I'll have to unmute.
Can you hear me today?
We can hear you.
I don't know why it wasn't working the other day. I have to agree wholeheartedly with you and Rona. If the world is a teacher, man, if I could just neutralize the outside with my inside, I'd be at peace forever.
Well, the key is to neutralize the inside regardless of the outside. And then
I know.
the outside changes, but we don't even notice anymore.
Yeah. There's always something in my world that's not right. Sometimes I'm at peace, but then there's like an edge somewhere. Something's peeking its head. Well, this isn't right. And then I get a contraction. But I didn't think of the world as a teacher of where we're trying to go, but I can see from what everybody's saying that it definitely is a teacher. It's the
And do you
biggest
see how
teacher
much
we've
more
got.
fun it is, Doris? When every
Yes.
time something hits us and we contract, there's no matter how I feel at the moment, I often say, yeah, another opportunity. I get to let another piece go.
Something to think about for me anyway. I thank this group so much. You're from my ever group. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We love that you're here every time you're here. Okay. Mary Beth, come on down.
Hi, hi. So enjoyed this conversation and just starting off with David Hawkins. Presume that the world's purpose is perfect and fully only known to God is it's a practice that I try to do. I heard years ago, I think from Gary Zukav, I'm perfect for my soul's purpose. So it falls right in line with being willing to consider that maybe, just maybe, what's going on is perfect, right? And that gets me started and headed in the right direction. And the scan, the meditation you did, I too like doing that in the awarenesses, and especially with the question, am I willing to let go of this pain, suffering, desire to heal the world? And it's like when you first asked, what am I here for? What came to me? Why am I on this journey? Why am I on this path? It is to contribute to the healing of the world, or to heal the world. And that was just so powerful. It's like, because I've had this chronic tightness, this chronic knot in my middle back. And it's annoying, and it's always there. And like I think Rona was talking about, it's like, okay, well, it's there, but that's okay. I can live with it. I can go on and be okay. But it was different. And I asked myself if I was willing to let that go in furtherance of the healing of the world. And I was in this slight shift, and I think more will come. But then when we got to think about someone who's suffering that you want to help. And I'm thinking outside my immediate family circle, and I think of my nephew, and I think of my sister, and both of them have different issues, that are causing suffering, and I would like to be able to help. And it's not like I get my hands in there, but it's been chronic and long going, and they're often in my thoughts and my prayers. And I took that question, am I willing to let go of this need to help and furtherance? And then someone else, there was talk too about the whole mirror, or when you were talking about what is it I think I can do for them. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And both of them, although they're different issues, and they're even different issues than mine in a way, um, actually not, there was a similarity that I never really picked up. I was more thinking of their different issues and not our common issue. And I too am in 12-step recovery. And for years, I've tried to get my sister get into some kind of 12-step recovery. It'll be life-changing. It was life-changing for me, right? And same thing with my nephew now. And it's like, do that. And I just realized how it was, I was trying to transfer, right, what worked for me, my needs, onto them, thinking that's what they needed. And as soon as I had that realization, I was able to let it go. And it was transformed to this new level, where I can look upon both my nephew and my sister, or think about. And so it was just a really powerful practice, and I love the conversations here. I get so excited knowing that this world is a school, that this world is for the growth, the personal growth, for the coming into awareness. And I can laugh. I can laugh at my suffering from it, the suffering around, and still have empathy for those that don't find the peace.
Right. So can I
And I
ask
think,
you before you go,
sure,
how's this tightness in your back right now?
it is definitely relieved. Yeah, that one that I was concentrating on is gone. I can feel others. I'll have to take the practice to them. But I would say the one that was present
So
when I became aware of it is no longer there.
just the verbiage. You said it's always there, by the way. You said the tension, the tightness that is always in
It,
my lower back.
always
And
a chronic, right.
chronic.
Except
And
when I apply forgiveness to it. It this
so it's not always there.
correct.
All right.
Correct.
Just
Okay.
much love. So glad that you're here.
Thanks.
Wow. So there's 4 minutes left in the hour, which means that there's time for you, whoever it is I'm speaking to comment. You can either unmute or raise your hand. Hmm. I'll know that I'm so grateful for your presence. I love us very, very much. I am extraordinarily easy to find, as are most of us at the Center for Awakening. Um, Watching this experience again, you can deepen into the experience. So feel free to do that. It's on YouTube. Practicing the noticing and this question again, just am I willing to accept that the world is in and of itself neutral? And it really is just an opportunity for me to rise in consciousness or to awaken or whatever you want to call it. And in the decision to do that, I am serving God and the world. So my decision to let go of my loved one, worry thoughts for my loved ones, is serving all of humanity. What a crazy thing. So thank you for being here. I love us very, very much. Till next time.